Today I wanted to talk about the news of the DNC Unity Commission. DNC Unity Commission, which sounds very unifying, doesn't it? The Unity Commission. Well, if you need a commission for unity, it's probably a problem. And this is going to be a tough one because my colleague Nomiki Kunst is a member of the Unity Commission. So I love Nomiki, we're friends, and she's my colleague, but I got to call something what it is, regardless if my colleague is part of the story. Obviously, she's not going to be covering the story because she's part of it. So the Unity Commission was agreed upon during the DNC last year. Oh, sorry about that.
What's going on, Jordan?
Hey.
How you doing?
Good.
Yeah.
I'm live.
I'm official.
Okay. So the Unity Commission was agreed upon at the August primary, and basically what it is a community group that's going to decide on changes to the primary process, specifically about superdelegates, about open primaries, about the amount of primaries that should be held in any given day, those kinds of things. So on the surface, it sounds lovely. But do I actually think anything is going to come of it? No, I do not. No, I do not. I think that the bottom line is this is being put together. There's some delegates, there's some members of the committee, including Nomiki, that Bernie Sanders put together on there. There's members that Secretary or former Secretary Hillary Clinton put on there, presumably Tom Perez, the DNC chair, put on there. But really, it's a unity commission to basically say we're looking into things and we're going to go around to different communities and see what they want. But until this party makes a unilateral decision to stop taking money.
Do you mind if I take a picture?
No. To stop taking money from special interest, all this other stuff doesn't matter. So let's say they get rid of superdelegates, for example, which would be a good thing. I don't think we should have superdelegates. They're not a democratic thing. But okay, if they get rid of superdelegates, does that mean we're going to always run and actually start pushing candidates that only take money from small dollar donors, that only take money from actual working people, that put forward policies that data and common sense indicate would help the masses? That doesn't mean that. So getting rid of superdelegates is not going to mean that the process is not stacked against you. Is not totally biased, as we saw during the Democratic primary. Superdelegates weren't the only problem. The problem was you have a party resistant to any candidates and movements that want to remove money from the political process. So yes, if superdelegates were removed, would that be a short victory? Yeah, it would be nice. To me, the main problem of last year's primary was not specifically that superdelegates existed. It was the fact that it was reported in a very dishonest and out of context way. Superdelegates should have never been included in the media's reporting because they didn't vote until the actual DNC in Philadelphia. So the fact that superdelegates existed, I don't agree with in the first place. But the problem was more than just that they exist. It was that it was on part of the media, deception. It was deception on the part of the media in terms of out of context. Do I think that this Unity Commission, that there are Democrats on this commission? I mean, I could read you off the list. Nomiki just did a live stream on this same exact topic. There's 9 that were appointed by Hillary Clinton, 7 by Bernie Sanders. Do I think that there's more people on this commission that would actually take the step of making all of the primaries open instead of closed? And if you don't know, open primaries mean anyone. Anyone could vote. If you're a Democrat, a Republican, an independent, anybody is welcome to vote in the Democratic primary or the Republican primary if they wanted to make theirs open. Do I actually think that's going to happen? Hell no. There's not a chance that will happen. For the same reason that they don't want to remove money from the political process. The higher-ups in the Democratic establishment, many of which are on this committee, don't want the masses and the people to actually be deciding things. They want the people to stay pretty much receptacles of their propaganda. and they want to be able to manipulate the people into thinking that they are fighting for them. It might seem like a dark way of thinking about it, but I've seen enough over the last year and a half. That's what they want. They don't want actual independents who don't have a particular allegiance to the Democratic Party to be able to vote. They don't want Republicans who might be sick of both parties and who might go for a candidate like a Bernie Sanders to actually have the power to vote, because then they might lose their jobs. See, they're too indebted already, these elected officials and the people on this committee. They're too indebted already to special interests to suddenly change their ways. Like, they don't have a track record of being populist and for the people. So you can't just suddenly, as an elected official, funnel money from Wall Street, funnel money from big oil, funnel money from pharmaceutical companies, funnel money from hedge funders to oil magnates to whatever, and then suddenly say, you know what, finally, they've taken money out of the process, so I'm going to sign on for that. You would have no credibility. So these people aren't going to vote for an open primary because, you know what, if all of the primaries were open during the 2016 Democratic primary, it wouldn't have even been close. Bernie Sanders would have won the primary in a landslide. The most damage that was done to Bernie Sanders was the fact that all these primaries were closed. And what do closed primaries mean? Only Democrats vote. Well, there's a lot of young people that just got activated into the process because of Bernie Sanders that were never even registered to begin with. So they didn't register as Democrats soon enough to vote for Bernie Sanders. There's a lot of people who were registered Democrats that switched to independent because they're so disgusted with the process, who were not able to vote for Bernie Sanders. There's a lot of older Americans that, you know, it's not a universal rule, but in general are more set in their ways politically, have more party allegiance. That's not to say all people, because obviously a lot of Young Turks viewers, a lot of progressives are older and are just as sick of the Democratic Party as the younger people. But there's a lot of these people that would have put Bernie Sanders over the edge. And as far as I could see, since the 2016 election and Hillary Clinton losing to a reality TV star used car salesman, I haven't seen big change in the Democratic Party. So why would I think the people on this commission are suddenly going to take the radical step, the right step, but a fairly dramatic step of making all the primaries open? Not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Lauren just said, I'm in New York. Had to change my party from independent to Democrat over 7 months before the primary in order to vote for Bernie. I'm politically involved, so I was aware of this, but most people aren't. She's 100% right. And guess what? That's a form of voter suppression. Why do you think New York has such arcane registration rules? Because they don't want the majority of people to vote. They want consistent Democratic Party voters to vote, because those are the people who 9 times out of 10 will go with the party line and go with the establishment candidate. So that's why I don't think this Unity Commission, maybe they'll make changes around the edges, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope my colleague Nomiki, who's on there, who I love dearly, is able to ruffle some feathers. Her, along with Nina Turner, is on there, in addition to some other strong progressives, and I hope they are able to really knock some sense into these people. And Nomiki has a lot of contacts within the DNC world, and apparently a lot of the people in the Democratic Party establishment want to make changes. But I haven't seen enough changes from the top to really signify that actual electoral change, meaning open primaries, removing superdelegates, those kinds of things. Or at least keeping superdelegates but making them representatives, so superdelegates have to vote based on how their states vote, which in the case of the Democratic primary did not happen. The majority of superdelegates went against the way that their actual states voted. Howard Dean being one of them. But the list goes on of superdelegates who said, to hell with the voters in my state. I'm going to go because I don't want to get on Hillary and the Clinton machine's bad side, because of course she's going to win. Well, that worked out. I mean, there's also the issue of the number of states that are hold primaries on the same day. I mean, Super Tuesday in some of these states, they have 7 or 8 primaries in a day. Who does that disadvantage? The underdog candidate, the grassroots candidate, because grassroots candidates in general have less name brand identification. So Bernie Sanders, for example, when there was more space between primaries, he actually had time to go in and hold rallies and talk to voters and knock on doors and do all the things that you need to introduce yourself. He did a lot better. Dustin, Jank needs to give you a raise, Jordan Sheridan. I agree. Call your local congressman or Jank Uger. I'm always happy to get more money. But when Bernie had more time to introduce himself, push his policies, he did a lot better. He had upsets in states like Michigan when he got a little bit more time. Where he did not do so good is when there was a bunch of primaries crammed together in one day. Because Hillary Clinton, she had more name ID, she had more time, not just in 2016, but years before, to build up infrastructure in those states. Because not only the candidate, each candidate has state operations. So they have offices in different states, and volunteers, and organizers, and field directors, and all that. Well, if there's a bunch of primaries all on the same day, well, and you only have like a week from the last big primary to organize for all these big primaries, the establishment candidate with more money for television ads, more money for field operations, typically has a lot bigger chance. And for those of you coming to this late, I'm here at Little Creek Camp in Williamsburg, Iowa, which is an offshoot of Standing Rock. I did a video here the other day, so you can go check that out on youtube.com/2ytpolitics, find out what it's all about. But they are open to more people coming. Kate, Sheridan 2020. Hell no. Not only will I not be 35, but I don't want to run for office. I think I actually can do more this way than ever being a political stooge. And save the video so when I change my mind, you could call me out as a hypocrite. So, overall, listen, if establishment Democrats do something that I think is good, I have no fear actually crediting them. But I don't see many good things that the establishment Democrats have done. I just don't see it. I think that by and large, it is same old, same old. Instead of actually doing an autopsy on why they lost, they have fear-mongered on Russia and fixated on everything Trump does. And of course, Trump's president, we should cover what he does. We should resist all the terrible things he's doing. But they haven't actually put forward any progressive policies that Bernie Sanders people and the future of the Democratic Party actually could rally behind. Did you hear many leading Democrats in the party when Trump was trying to push forward this god-awful Trump Care, which was essentially Paul Ryan's plan dressed up a little nicer for health care? Did you see many leading Democrats pushing forward loudly for single-payer health care? The usuals did. Bernie Sanders, Keith Ellison, Raul Grijalva, Tulsi Gabbard. None of the leading Democrats did. You heard any leading Democrats speaking out against these pipelines? Dakota Access Pipeline, Keystone happening again? No. So I would love unity to work, but as an objective outsider, I got to call it like I call it. Until the core issue of the Democratic Party is not a reliance on too many consultants. That's an issue with the DNC. But the core issue of the Democratic Party is not structural changes like that. The core issue of the Democratic Party is it's been hijacked by Wall Street and special interests. And until that dark, dark cloud, if it ever is removed, until those elected officials and the think tanks supporting them and the pundits supporting them and the, progressive organizers that are actually consultants supporting them, until that is changed, until they remove themselves from that system and actually have a progressive populist message and back it up with not taking money from the special interests, there will be no unity. So if Tom Perez and Chuck Schumer came out tomorrow for single-payer health care, starting to shift dramatically and quickly away from fossil fuels, no longer taking money from Wall Street banks, and fighting for all the things that the Bernie Sanders wings of the party wants to do and believe in, hell, I'll throw the Unity Party. This isn't a personal thing against them. But can't have unity if the core principles of the two wings are not the same. and it's too late to play this incremental gradualism. I go around the country. The country is poor. The country is starving. Half the country is poor. The media has painted it, oh, the economy is on the rebound and things are improving. And, you know, the economy is down to 4.6% unemployment and home equity prices are up. These are all surface numbers. You go out, you talk to enough people, you see the cities that I've seen, you see the ghost towns around this country, the boarded up shops, the boarded up homes, the streets where I don't even know how you could drive through those streets.
I don't know how you're.
Nuh-uh. So, that's the story. Thank you for watching. I'll be here a few more days. I'm following up on some other stories. And yeah, you'll be hearing from me as always. So you could go check out that other video I did on this camp so you have more information. Again, Little Creek Camp. And I'll be back for more. Thanks for watching.